Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. The South African mining industry has always been against being forced by law to beneficiate the minerals it mines. However, South Africa's Chamber of Mines has reacted with enthusiasm to the beneficiation strategy announced by Minerals and Energy Minister Sanjika that involves the whole country. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer is with us in the studio today to tell us more. Martin, it seems there's been a new thinking on the mining front in South Africa with the launch of a beneficiation strategy. Can you give us a brief history of beneficiation or the lack thereof in this country until now?
Yeah, we've been debating beneficiation for 2 decades. And when Canadians and Australians come here, they say, beneficiation? We've never heard of it. And I note that Gareth Penny, the CEO of De Beers, he defines it for them. It's adding value to metals and minerals in the country. So we've coined this phrase and we expect foreigners to know all about it. But beneficiation really is something that the country has wanted and yearned for, as I say, decades, but never been able to really get it right. And, we saw with Bobby Gotzel, he was a great protagonist and said, let's add value to gold. He did take 25% interest in a chain manufacturer, a gold chain manufacturer in Cape Town, and that was quite a successful operation. He also produced gold semis so that local jewelers could actually take those into their systems in South Africa and create jewelry, but it never really took off. And Bernard Swanepoel, he went head over heels into beneficiation. He actually started refining his own gold and also creating jewelry, making jewelry. People came in from Peru and they were hit hard by our exchange rate. When our exchange rate strengthened, that put an end. So it just shows you there's so many factors in this beneficiation. As much as you can have your heart in beneficiation, you've got to also have your head in it. And this new strategy, I think, will make sure that there's also a head in beneficiation.
How do you think the skills challenge relates to the non-acceptance of the legally enforced beneficiation?
Well, people don't like to be hit over the head and said, thou shalt beneficiate. And that's what the government was planning. And the mining industry particularly is saying, do you want us to put a mining engineer in a room and ask him to design gold jewelry? Or, it's just not on. Mm-hmm. Now, you find that the Italians don't have gold in their country, but they make more out of our gold than we do. And it's because of their great talents. It's because they mix the science and the arts and they're able to produce jewelry. The Indians don't have a lot of diamonds, but they are the best cutters and polishers in the world because of those skills and because of the particular economy there where people are prepared to do things for very little pay. Mm-hmm. So those are the factors as well.
Why does the comparative advantage of South Africa's wealth of minerals not necessarily translate into an economic advantage by beneficiation?
We've got more chrome than anyone else in the world, and that's why Anglo-American and the old Barlows got together and they created Middelburg Steel and Alloy. They were going to produce stainless steel here, and obviously we should be producing stainless steel. We've got all the chrome. Southern Africa's got all the chrome. Produce ferrochrome, produce stainless steel. That's what we do. We export the ferrochrome, and Japanese make stainless steel and Germans make stainless steel. So they decided they were going to do it. But we saw these 2 mining companies coming together. Well, it was really Rand Mines and Anglo Gold, and it was an abject failure. So what you really need are people whose skills are around stainless steel to be very much involved. You can't just say because we are miners of stainless steel, we are miners of chrome, we can now produce stainless steel. So the lessons have been learnt over time, and we can see that it's all about proper boardroom decisions, not legislation, and it's all about having the right environment. You must have the tax incentives to start with. You must have the skills. I think that's all important.
Yes.
And you can also create things like industrial development zones. You can create better trading conditions. So it's a holistic approach, which the Minister Sanjika has finally arrived at believing that it's not force, it's actually are there markets, studying up the various things. We saw with fluorospar, we saw the government with Palchem coming together and saying, we've got fluorospar, now we can create chemicals that we need for the nuclear energy industry. So that's a nice logical progression where you've got a local market, but you have to have those local markets, and you have to look holistically at adding value to metals and minerals.
Definitely an all-in-one holistic approach is needed here.
That's true.
Thank you so much for your time, Martin.
It's a great pleasure.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time as we take an in-depth look into the mining world's premier projects, industries, and business personalities.